Welcome here live inside Platt Arena on this gorgeous Saturday afternoon. Hi everyone, I'm Logan Hunt. Alongside me, I'm my good friend Eric Banton. You've come back and called quite a few games for us, and we have an exciting one shaping out here with the Huntington University Foresters taking on the Grace College Lancers, and it is going to be a doozy.
Yeah, it is. Both teams have kind of been middle of the league toward the bottom half. The Foresters just seemingly struggling a bit. They've lost, I believe, 3 in a row now, and they're looking to try and get back on the winning track as well. Grace, they've been having some pretty good success, at least in recent times here, and they're looking to keep up their stellar 14-5 record.
We'll get back to more on all the keys to the game for both sides, but first let's take a look at the Crossroads League standings as they stand right now. As you can see, Indiana Wesleyan at the top, St. Francis right there in second with Bethel, Grace, Mount Vernon, Nazarene. It's like a four-way tie there for third.
Yeah, it definitely is very tight knit there, and two surprises this year have been Mount Vernon and Goshen. Both of those teams are playing really solid basketball. The Goshen and Mount Vernon both upsetting the Foresters this year. They're looking to turn around from what was a very bad 2013-2014. They are looking strong here early, while on the other hand, Huntington, if they do not pull off the win today and Taylor wins, they'll find themselves out of the top 8 in the Crossroads League standings.
Well, we know that Grace is coming off a big win against Marion. It was a 17-point win for them, and Marion ranked 19th right there, dropped lower in the standings, and Huntington is in need of a win. Like you said, Eric, don't want to fall out of that top 8 in the Crossroads League standings. But there are some other games going on around the league. Go ahead and fill us in on that, Eric.
All of these scheduled for a 3 p.m. tip time. The Spring Arbor Cougars will host the visiting Wildcats of Indiana Wesleyan, the #1 team in all of Division II NAIA basketball. Marion will host St. Francis. That's always a good matchup. Love seeing those teams do battle. Goshen will host Taylor today. That's a very surprisingly good game, I think, and I believe the Maple Leafs have the better team in that matchup. And then the final game around the league today, Bethel will host the visiting Cougars of Mount Vernon Nazarene. Again, a very underrated matchup. It could go either way with how well Mount Vernon has played this year, but Bethel coming off a big win against our Foresters.
Well, it seems like there are some good games, especially with Goshen and Taylor, Bethel and Mount Vernon. Those should shape out to be some very good matchups and could drastically change the Crossroads League standings.
Yeah, very well could. Any team can play with any other team in this Crossroads League. As evident in the Women's League today, we saw our Foresters take a tough loss at the end to the Grace Lady Lancers on the road, 52-51. So the Foresters dropped to 4-4 in the women's standings, but I think they're still trying to find their identity a bit. They didn't shoot very well today. I expect that won't be the case for much longer.
Well, we know the Lady Foresters couldn't quite pull out a victory, but what do these men Foresters need to do to get the win against the Lancers?
First of all, I just think they have to reset. We're winding down this first wave, as we like to call it, of Crossroads League play. They're 2-5, haven't gotten off to the start that they needed. They just kind of have to have that reset mindset now. It's 0-0. They're restarting completely. They're going to go back through all 9 other Crossroads League teams. They just have to focus one game at a time, and it's a new season now for the Foresters. Also, they have to play within their roles. We know that Derek Heinen is the general. He likes to run the floor. He can score the basketball. I think more importantly, though, he'll have to distribute the ball for the Foresters to have success, and also they have to rebound. We saw that game against Bethel. They could not pull down a defensive rebound to save their life, and they got out-rebounded by 30, 52-22 on the board. It's going to be important to crash the glass here today and use that Windex to grab the orange off the glass. As for Grace, they've been a little hot and cold this season, but again, they're 14-5, looking really, really strong in Crossroads League play. Key for them is to draw fouls, but they do not have the greatest free throw percentage. They're going to have to be on their A game in that category, and also their three-point shooting and their defense. They're #1 in three-point defense in NAIA Division II basketball.
So I believe they're only allowing 26% three-point shooting.
Correct.
And that's key for the Foresters. They like to live and die by that three ball. Especially we saw in the last game against Bethel, it was a three-point shootout.
Yes, it was. And it's going to be a completely different game, I think. We're going to see a low-scoring defensive battle today.
Well, we've talked about the players and what they need to do, but let's get to meet them before this game starts.
Tyler Alt, senior, Carroll High School.
Derek Heinen, sophomore, V, Columbia City High School.
Devin Murder, freshman, Heritage Hills High School.
Trevor Lockwood, freshman, McCutcheon High School.
Kyle Platt, freshman, Huntington North High School.
Daniel Wool, sophomore, V, Columbia City High School.
Kai Fode, junior, Canterbury High School.
Austin Clark, freshman, Switchland County High School.
Trevor Lucas, freshman, Brownsburg High School. Kyle Pivinger, sophomore, Tri-Village High School.
Drew Benedict, sophomore, Columbia City High School.
Alec Peterson, senior, Carmel High School. Calvin Miller, sophomore, Huntington North High School.
Welcome back here to Platte Arena. We're getting ready for tip-off, but first we must go through the prayer and the national anthem, so please stay tuned for this exciting Crossroads League matchup.
Remove your hats and remain silent as Pastor Greg Knott leads us in prayer before today's game. After prayer, please remain standing and honor America as Huntington University sophomore Alyssa Kissel will sing our national anthem. Almighty God and loving Father, we have many things to be thankful for this day. We thank you for the warmer weather. We thank you for healthy bodies. We thank you for athletic competitions. Most of all, we thank you for your Son, Jesus Christ, who makes life possible. And Father, just now we pray that you would grant safety to all who compete today. May sportsmanship prevail. And Father, we just thank you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Welcome back to Platte Arena. We are getting ready for tip-off here, and a big shout-out goes to the Norwell High School band as they're here doing the pep band duties, and they've been getting a little funky up here. I kind of like it, Eric.
I like it too. Got to get some funk down here before pregame, and it's going to be fun to have them in the building, keeping the energy up, and hopefully the Foresters can feed off that today.
As we look towards the starters for the Grace Lancers, it will be number 4, Logan Irwin, and he is a man that definitely the Force need to watch out for.
That is definitely right. Logan Irwin on the season doesn't have the point totals that you would imagine, only averaging about 12 points a game, but this guy is an assist machine. He by far and away is the leader in that category, 93. The next highest is Caleb Featherston with 35. So quite easy to tell who the offense runs through for these Lancers.
Well, rounding out the Lancers starting 5, it will be Featherston, Philman, Vanderhagen, and Dennis Williams. And Dennis Williams, the 6'11 senior from Jamaica.
international flavor is always interesting to see, and especially considering he's going to be matching up with Alec Peterson. That matchup today may be the difference in who pulls out with the win here in Platte Arena. It's an even size matchup, and I think we're going to see an even playing field down in the paint and on the low blocks, getting into the dirty work there.
Well, now we look towards the Foresters and looking like a very typical starting 5 lineups. It'll be Derek Hine in the general coming out at the point guard position. Then the senior, number 10, Tyler Alt, who had a great coming out party against Bethel a few days ago. Also, Kyle Pippinger, who put on a show late with Heinen and Wool out of the game. Then Daniel Wool starting at the 4 spot, and Alec Peterson, the big man down low, getting the start for the injured Austin Clark, who won't be playing today.
Yeah, Austin Clark, we saw him on Tuesday have a little bit of problems with his back. He got a shot, I believe, on a defensive possession, and he will not be playing today, going to rest trying to heal that up. So the majority of inside work is going to fall on Alec Peterson today. He's got to play like he's 6'10" and play with some intensity out there.
We're expecting a great matchup here between the Foresters and the Lancers. Lancers doing a little better in the conference play, but what a way to turn around this 3-game losing streak for the Foresters to get a win at home and this packed crowd here in Platte Arena.
And the Foresters also have lost 4 of their last 5. Now, albeit one of those losses was to a Division I team in Arizona Christian, but the Forester morale is a little low right now. A win would absolutely boost it through the roof.
Williams and Peterson getting ready for the tip. And it looked like Peterson, I guess technically will win the tip, hitting it off the chest of Grace, so the Foresters will start out with the ball.
That ball just kind of hung in the air on the initial tip, but then again, good work by Peterson, getting after it and able to deflect it off of Philman off that secondary tip, and now the Foresters will start off with the basketball.
Pippinger up top, getting a screen from Peterson, driving left side up, gets it blocked by Williams. Peterson right there with the putback.
And as we said, Peterson's going to have to be the workhorse down low, clean the glass, put in easy shots, make the easy ones. That's going to be the key for him against the 6'11" Dennis Williams.
See the Lancers working the ball around, finally getting it down to Philman. He gets stuck there by Wool. Featherston with the ball. Up to Philman. Philman giving it right back. Vanderhagen with it, going down low to Philman. Philman up and under on Wool, and that drops.
That's a wonderful job keeping the pivot foot on the ground by Philman and just using those slick moves to get around Dan Wool, who we know is an intense defender, and we're already tied at 2 now.
And a traveling violation called against Kyle Pippinger and the Foresters.
We saw Pippinger get off to a hot start and end the game hot for the Foresters in that loss to Bethel. He's got to put together a complete game, and I think with his skill on defense, if he can step his offensive game up, he'll be a complete ball player and really be an X factor for the Foresters when they need him the most.
Vandenhagen with the shot and is fouled, I believe, by Pippinger, and Pippinger looks to be shaken up a little bit on the play.
Well, that's a shame for him. He fell down on the ground and was the player called for the foul, but that's going to send Vanderhagen to the line. Just an unfortunate miscue there for Pippinger. Commits the turnover on the travel on the other end, now gets tacked with a foul.
Vanderhagen, not typically a great free throw shooter, only shooting around 68%, but able to drill the first one.
And this Grace team really not the greatest free throw shooting team. 67% as a team, and their best one is shooting at 76.5%. That's Philman. So it'll be interesting to see how that dynamic will entail itself throughout this ball game, because the Foresters, they're not the best free throw shooting team either, but they are considerably better than Grace.
Wool posting up out to Alt for 3, and off the rim, no good. Peterson goes up for the board and is fouled.
And that's exactly what we wanted to see out of Peterson today. Play like you're 6'10". You may not have the bulk that Williams has down low, but nonetheless, great awareness, flying after the ball after the miss, and giving the Foresters another chance to score.
That foul went on Philman, that's his first. Both teams with the foul apiece early in the first half. Pippinger with the ball on the left side, going to Wool. Wool posted up Philman, turnaround Jay, no good. Rebound goes to Philman.
That's a tough shot there by Wool. Didn't have the greatest angle at the rim, but I think he could have used the he could have used the backboard. Instead, he uses his right hand and swats it back.
What a great swat there by Dan Wool. Lancers, though, going to reset the offense. Irwin driving, step back. Williams asking for the ball down low, really pleading with his team. They aren't giving it to him. Irwin driving, right side, pull back to Vandenhagen for three at the top of the key, and that falls.
And that was as the shot clock was winding down, only 1 second left. Vanderhagen came through in the clutch for the Lancers on that possession, and they've got a 5-point lead early. Forsters just have to keep trying to maintain the pace here early.
Heinen with the ball on the far side, driving right, goes up, right over Williams, up and in for two.
Heinen calling for help. Irwin was left wide open there after Heinen fell on the deck as on that last drive to the basket.
That's a mismatch here. Irwin going right baseline on Wool. Dish out to Philman. Has Heinen on him, and now the switch comes from Heinen and Wool. We see Featherston pulling up for two, and that's good from him.
And Huntington fans recognize that last name, Caleb Featherston, the younger brother of former Forster player Colin Featherston. Featherston, if you remember, 2 years ago hit a wonderful runner with under 10 seconds against Marion to win the game for the Forsters. And then Ryan Baster came up with a steal to ice it. But on the other end, we're seeing Peterson be the focal point of the offense. I like what the Forsters are doing with him early.
Featherston now with the ball, getting it to Philman. Philman going down to Williams, poked away by Peterson. Wool goes to the ground and gets the steal.
And we cannot believe what a great start he is off to. Peterson this year has really struggled, kind of a slump off of his success last year. But what a way for him to start it off today.
Wool couldn't quite get that mid-range jumper to drop. Irwin coming the other way. Step back long two, and that's good from Irwin.
Irwin may not have the prettiest shooting motion, but when he's around that deep range, he loves to take those open shots, and you got to have a hand in his face if the Foresters want to even sniff success today.
Heinen getting the ball down low. Vanderberg on him. Heinen up and under around Williams, and that's good.
How did he work his way around three Lancers on the low post? I just cannot believe how he was able to thread the needle between all of those Lancers clogging up the lane. That's incredible play and hustle by Heinen.
Heinen, a very crafty player for the Foresters, leads them in scoring, and that's the reason why. You see Vanderhagen kissing that one off the glass to extend the lead back to 5, just under 15.
And it couldn't have been greater defense there by Pippinger. Had a hand in the face, was with Vanderhagen all the way, but he just found a great way to use the glass to his advantage and with the soft touch, convert the jumper.
Wool with the ball up top. Finds Pippinger in the corner for 3. That's no good. Rebound goes to Featherston. Here comes Irwin the other way. Driving left side, dish out to Philman. Philman goes in on Wool and gets stopped. And now a foul call on Alec Peterson, battling for position on Williams. And now it'll take us to our first media timeout, with the Lancers on top of the Foresters 13-8.
Foresters, it's been a little different for them. All of their buckets have come on inside drives. Peterson got both of his points, I believe, off of rebounds, which is exactly what you want him to do. Otherwise, the Foresters have just been driving in and getting cuts with Heinen to the basket. I'd like to start seeing that outside shooting kind of open up now because they are going to the rack. Race is going to collapse on those Forester players. That should leave Kickman wide open in the corner.
Foresters definitely need to work with that. The kick in, dish out, maybe try a little bit of that. We saw the Foresters come out real quick against Bethel And so far, hasn't really been the case.
Yeah, it really hasn't. Their shooting hasn't been as great. And, of course, you're not going to have nights like that shooting the ball every time you go out on the floor. But you've got to at least maintain the fact that the Foresters are playing okay defense. It's only a 5-point game. We're in the very early stages, but maintaining about a 5-point lead here with the Lancers, who are a team that we know can explode at any time. This is a good, at least opening few minutes for the Foresters.
Just a reminder, this time I was brought to you in part by the Huntingtonian, the newspaper here at Huntington. Make sure you check them out on Twitter and Facebook. And it'll be the Lancers getting the ball out of the timeout. Irwin inbounding from his own baseline. Gets it to Vanderhagen, back up top to Featherston. Vanderhagen working the ball down to Williams now. Isolation on Peterson. Williams back out to Vanderhagen. Drives in. Up and under move, pretty move in the lane to get that too.
And Pippinger tried to help out Peterson on that low block, trying to help him out. And that left Vanderhagen open on the 3, used a pump fake, got past Pippinger rather easily, and he had that one as soon as he went to the hole.
Wool going in for 2, it's not there. The putback there though for Alec Peterson.
I like how Peterson's coming out today. Playing hard, not playing tentative. That's something that he's been used to being seen, as we have a foul here on the other end.
Alt going to be called for a clear foul there on Featherston. Brought that left hand down to hit the ball and got the arm. Stousen Featherston to the line to shoot 2.
And that is one of the keys that this Grace team has to do. That's draw fouls and get them on key players for the Foresters. They did so with Alt there. That's only his first, though, but it is the third of the half for the Foresters, as we're going to see Trevor Lucas come in for Pippinger.
Well, we talked about Lucas in the pregame. I know us two were talking about how great his defense is, and I believe that's why he's coming in. He'll have the job of Vanderhagen. So we see Featherston going 1 for 2 from the line. And here come the Foresters the other way, down 6.
Interesting to see Lucas wearing the long sleeves. You don't see too many players do that anymore.
Lucas putting it down to Wool. Back to Heinen. Heinen picking up a screen. Back to Wool. Heinen and Wool playing a 1-2 game, and now a foul is called.
Coach Platt here on the sidelines, we're hearing him say, keep the ball moving. And that's what the Foresters have to do, again, to draw those double teams down low, and that'll leave kick guys wide open as Peterson gets a nice round of applause for his outstanding play so far in this first half. He is 3 for 3 with 3 rebounds.
Well, we see Bowen coming in with Lockwood coming in also. It's going to be a little 1-2 punch from Grace. We see the miss from Alt. Lance is working the ball around the perimeter. Filming with the ball in the elbow, gets it blocked by Wool. Bowen comes up with it. Irwin has it, driving right side. Dish out to Featherston for 3, and that's not there. Rebound goes to Heinen.
Great hustle. We're already seeing it out of Trevor Lucas. Even with the tight defense, it's working for the Foresters. Here's Wool.
The miss there. Alt comes up with the offensive rebound and then hit out of bounds, but the Foresters will keep possession. We see
Foresters are really hurrying now on offense. I don't know if that's necessarily what they want to do against this Grace team. They've got to be able to find those open looks. We'll see Wool come out early, and in is Kyle Platt.
I don't think Coach Platt was too happy with that 3 from Dan Wool early in the shot clock. See the Foresters already going to their bench. Alt gets it up top to Lucas. Lucas right back to Heinen. Heinen picking up a screen from Lockwood. Step back 3. That's no good. Long rebound goes to Platt. He'll get it to Heinen. Heinen tries threading it to Lockwood. Not there. Here comes Irwin with the steal. He goes up, draws contact, and gets the and-one opportunity.
And in that prior situation, I thought Heinen should have just taken the shot. He has a great ability to loft it over defenders, has great touch on the basketball. I would have liked to have seen him drive and shoot the ball rather than dish it off like we're accustomed to him seeing. That provided an easy fast break on the other end for the Lancers. Irwin doing an excellent job drawing the foul, and with enough control, made the layup.
Well, we see Coach Platt having to take an early timeout. Foresters down 8, and I think you described it best, Eric. The Foresters are looking to do maybe just a little too much with the ball, getting maybe a little too fancy with their passes. They need to just get back to what they've been doing. Not a fantastic game out of Dan Wool so far and Derek Heinen, but the Foresters somehow still are in this game.
Yeah, they are, and you know, eventually those shots are going to start falling, but they first of all have to look for them. The Foresters right now are just looking to pass it off. They don't really seem to have a plan on offense. So I'd like to see somebody actually step up and start taking those shots that they need to get back into this ball game down 8.
We see Williams back in the game for Grace. Irwin able to convert on the end one, so Lockwood would get the duties of guarding Williams.
And we saw Irwin on that free throw attempt leave his feet. You do not want to see that if you're teaching the fundamentals, but he did happen to make it.
Lucas with the miss. Rebound goes to Irwin. He's coming up quickly. Finds Vanderhagen. Down to Williams. Williams back out to Irwin. And a foul called on Lockwood. Battling for position down low on Williams.
And Williams with that 3-inch reach advantage on Lockwood is going to have a field day against him, but Lockwood's got to remember to stay disciplined and keep his position well, as we're going to see 2 subs from the Foresters also.
We see Lockwood and Alt take a seat. Peterson and Pippinger coming in for them. Irwin, dish out to Vanderhagen. Vanderhagen back to Irwin. Down low to Williams, and Peterson hitting the ball out of bounds. Gonna stay with the Lancers, though.
And even though Peterson has 1 foul, I think it's a good decision to bring him back in. He's been the most intense Forester on the floor, surprisingly, for the Foresters, which is not something he typically does. Usually you'll see Heinen and Wool be the most fiery guys on the floor, so it's good to see him playing with some intensity out there.
Dan Wool entering the game for Trevor Lucas. We see Irwin going down to Williams. Williams just getting the ball. Irwin going back down to him. Isolation on the block with Peterson. Goes around him and up for 2.
That time Peterson just left his feet too early and gave Williams the easy position inside, and the Lancers find themselves in front for the first time by double figures.
Wool going to work on Bowen. Gets it poked away. And that's Hoffer coming up with the board, or with the steal, excuse me.
And the Foresters just aren't playing their roles. Wool is a guy that can draw fouls down low, and I think really provide the Foresters a spark inside along with Peterson. If he doesn't start doing that, the Foresters are going to be in for a long day.
Hoffer going up. Platt right there with good defense. Wool comes up with the board. Heinen going the other way. Finds Platt over to Pippinger. Pippinger with the pump fake. And Heinen getting the screen from Peterson, left side. Gets it to Wool. Wool with the spin move. Nothing working there. 10 seconds on the shot clock. Platt going to take the 3. Not falling for the Foresters tonight.
Definitely aren't. Already 0 for 5 now from beyond the arc of the Foresters, only shooting 33%. That's going to drop with that last 3-point miss as well.
Hoffer with the floater in the lane. That rims around and out. 10 minutes to go in this half. Halfway through it. Lancers with an 11-point lead. Pippinger with the ball. Pump fake. Driving in the lane, pulling it back out, taking a 3. And that falls for Kyle Pippinger.
And I overheard Coach Platt say during that previous offensive possession, Pippinger's getting his guy off his feet. He's just not committing and driving to the basket. That time, he used his moves, got some open space with a pick, and was able to drill that 3. And that's what the Foresters need to kind of get their rhythm back now.
Hoffer with it on the perimeter. Gets it back to Irwin. Irwin to Bowen. Bowen down to Williams. Peterson trying to stop that. So hard to stop Williams once he gets the ball down low.
And that quick step is beating out Peterson almost every time now. Peterson's collapsed the last 2 times they've gone one-on-one against Williams. He's going to have to start getting more discipline there. But nice move again on offense.
Peterson making himself known offensively. Answering Williams' bucket with one of his own. Hoffer gets it to Bowen, looking down to Williams. Irwin with it now. Finds Hoffer, he'll get it down to Williams. And that's gonna be a travel. Clear shuffle of the feet. And we'll see Alton Lockwood enter for Wool and Peterson. Also, Bowen and Vanderhagen will take a seat. And for them will be Philman and Featherston.
Good to see Alec, again, staying disciplined that time. He learned a little bit of what he did wrong on that last possession defensively, made some good adjustments there, and forced Williams to make the mistake.
Heine with it on the outside, picking up a screen from Lockwood. Lockwood gets the mid-range off, just rolling around and out. Shots not falling today for the Foresters.
Yeah, Gracious shooting at a nice clip right now, 9 of 14 from the field, while the Foresters, they're struggling at now 7 for 19.
Irwin taking the long two, and that drops for Irwin, and Coach Platt would like another timeout with the lead growing to 10 with 8:03 remaining.
Foresters have to be more disciplined getting hands in the face of shooters, and you can't leave Irwin that wide open when he's beyond the free throw line, because that is his range and that's where he lives, shooting the basketball.
Irwin, a great shooter. We've also seen Williams doing a great job against the bigs of Huntington. Peterson answering offensively. Like we said, the shots just aren't falling for the Foresters. We saw Pippinger get started with a three, and you got to think the Foresters have to get themselves on track by maybe getting a few easy buckets down low.
Yeah, I agree. You can't live off the mid-range right now. The advantage you have is with Peterson. You have to keep feeding him the rock. He's been doing great all night. As we mentioned, 4 for 4 right now from the field with 8 points. Why not keep going to this guy? He's got some confidence and he knows a way to beat Williams down low. Give it to the man.
Coming out of the timeout. Behind and bringing it up court. We've seen man-to-man defense from both squads so far. And they're sticking to it. Heinen looking left side to Alt. It's not there. Finally gets it to Alt. He wraps around the perimeter. Alt going to step back for a three. Not there. Offensive rebound by Pippinger. He goes to the ground but gets it to Alt. Outside for Platt for three. And that's there for Kyle Platt.
And that's what we like to see out of Pippinger. Once he starts feeling it from the field, he's going to go after those rebounds. He's going to become kind of Derek Heinen's counterpart there. Heinen likes to go get rebounds too. If Pippinger can start doing that, the Foresters have a hidden gem that they can use later in the game.
Irwin picking up a screen up top from Foreman. Featherston get one from Williams. Out to Hoffer. Hoffer with the mid-range, and that falls.
There's just too much space for the Lancers to shoot. You might as well just put a 10-foot gap in between these guys, because the Foresters just are not collapsing onto their men that they have to defend. They've got to start doing a better job of that. Can't have so many easy looks.
Platt finds Heinen on the outside. Heinen behind the back, going in the lane. Dish to Lockwood for two, and he banks it home.
It may be Saturday, but the bank is open inside Platt Arena. Lockwood making up for that missed mid-range that just swirled out, using the glass this time like the fundamentalists use.
Hoffer getting it off to Featherston. Featherston getting it back to Irwin. 15 on the shot clock. Down to Williams. Lockwood has hands up. And Williams just goes right over Lockwood.
And
Easy
again,
two
that's
there.
what you miss with Peterson out of the lineup. He's taking a short break. But Lockwood, I think, can start to learn what to do. As long as you play enough against a guy, you're going to find what his weaknesses are. And if he can start realizing those, the Foresters will start being more even in that matchup.
And we're going to see the Foresters move into a 2-3 zone now. Fulman getting it to Hoffer. He's left open for three. Off the front rim, and ball goes out of bounds off the back of Fulman.
I would have liked to see a Forester squeeze the orange there and get the rebound, but nonetheless, Philman has let 2 balls now bounce off of him out of bounds. The initial tip and then that play that just occurred there. The Foresters are getting a little bit crisper now on offense. They've scored the last 2 or 3 possessions. Good to see them starting to find that they're having success driving inside like we saw with Heinen on that previous offensive possession.
It's a nice 3-ball from Platt there, like you saw. And the Foresters really starting to come alive a little bit offensively. Kind of got a spark from the young guys on the team.
Yeah, that's something that's honestly quite surprising. I thought it was going to be the veterans of this team leading the charge today for the Foresters, but so far, Heinen only has 6. Tyler Arlt has held scoreless. He's 0 of 3 from the field. But Peterson, to his credit, man, I don't know what it is, but he's been well prepared for this game today. 4 for 4, as we mentioned. 8 of the 22 points for the Foresters.
Another thing I mentioned was Lockwood getting a bank shot in. Like you said, the bank's open, and I think the ATM was also open because he was cashing out from that mid-range, and it definitely looked nice.
Yeah, and if Lockwood could start to develop that and then maybe develop his post moves, I think he can gain some confidence as an offensive player. His defense hasn't been the greatest against Williams, but again, he's the shorter of the 2 players. But Williams is now on the bench as well, and in his place is Adrian Macaulay, the German, standing at 7'1".
Just a reminder, this time was brought to you in part by FDN News. Make sure you check out their weekly segment on this YouTube page. You can find it right here. So we're back to the action. Pippinger bringing the ball up. Looking to get it to Heinen. Vanderhagen doing a good job denying the ball. Platt with it on the outside. Dish to Pippinger. Pippinger picking up a screen from Platt now. Wool with the ball in the perimeter, going down low to Heinen. Heinen trying to go to work on Vanderhagen, goes up for 2. Just not falling there. And it'll be the Lancers coming the other way. Vanderhagen taking it all the way in. Dish out to Featherston. Finds Irwin. And a bad pass there might have helped the Foresters from a 3. We see a turnover now. Platt and Lockwood working together to get that steal. Heinen coming the other way. Gets it to Pippinger. Pippinger down low to Wool. Wool is Macaulay. Dishes out to Lockwood for 2. And that rattles in for Lockwood.
Man, Lockwood must have played the cards close to his vest there. He's showing that he's got the mid-range to go up with any of these guards for the Lancers. That's pretty interesting to note there.
Forster staying in this 2-3 zone. Haven't seen much of a 2-3 zone out of him this season. Featherston dishing to Irwin for 3. And that's just money.
Foresters, again, are just being terribly late at trying to get hands in the faces of these Lancer shooters. Their 3-point game is their specialty. They have to know that coming into this game, and they just haven't been able to execute.
Pippinger up top to Heinen. Heinen driving left side up for 2 and is fouled. So Derek Heinen, who struggled from the free throw line, only a 57% free throw shooter on the year, going to the line to shoot 2.
And a guy who has such a great motion from the mid-range and even cutting into the basket. That is very surprising out of the sophomore this year, who shot closer to 70% last year.
Heinen able to get that one to drop. Looking to convert and going 2 for 2. Forster's only down 7 now. And Heinen missing the second. Irwin coming the other way. Forster's moving back to man-to-man defense. Featherston dishing out to Irwin. Irwin spinning in the lane. Nifty up and under to get that one to fall.
That's just great body control by the smaller guard in the Forest there. There was tons of defenders in the lane for the Foresters. That's just great playmaking ability by Irwin there.
Nice little double clutch, and now a carry call on Kyle Pippinger. You don't see that called too often.
That's the first time I've seen Pippinger really frustrated with himself. He's made 2 self-inflicted wounds today with the travel and just now with that carry. So it'll be interesting to see how his morale ebbs and flows, at least here toward the end of the first half with only 3:19 left.
Well, we see Heinen take a seat, a man who averages about 35 minutes a game. In for him comes Alt, and the Forcers move right back to that 2-3 zone with Williams coming in for McCauley and the Lancers. 3-ball taken from Vanderhagen, and that drops for the Lancers, and the Forcers up no answer defensively. Coach Platt forced to take another timeout, but the Forcers down by 12 with 2:57 remaining in this half.
We're hammering this point in today, Logan. The Forcers just are not getting quick enough to the basketball. They're leaving guys open around the three-point line. The perimeter defense just simply is not there for Huntington today. I don't know what it is, but something's just not clicking in their minds right now.
I think the Forcers need to get back to man-to-man defense, because the 2-3s, I don't think it's going to work with how the Lancers are shooting the ball. I mean, it does take away Williams down low, which I think was the main reason. But right now, with Lockwood and Peterson both with one foul, you aren't in any foul trouble. Let your guys go up against Williams and see what they can do. I would take my chances against Williams getting 2 points rather than leaving Irwin or Vanderhagen out open for 3.
I totally agree with that, and give credit to head coach Jim Kessler of the Lancers. He must have really hammered that in. If you do see this zone, we're going to be able to shoot against it because the Forcers are not that quick. Their heads just aren't on those swivels like we've been talking about for much parts of this season.
Foresters going to have to get some answers offensively. They need to win these last 3 minutes and go into half on a run to try to keep the morale high. I mean, we were seeing why this Grace Lancer squad did receive votes and could possibly be ranked, at the end of the year.
And Grace is finishing this week out strong. They had a big win this week against Marion, and they're trying to finish out a 2-0 week, and doing so on the road in a tough environment such as Platt Arena. That would really boost the morale of that team.
Heinen going to stay on the bench out of the timeout. We do see Peterson coming in for Lockwood. And it'll be Pippinger working it down to Peterson. Right back to Pippinger. Pump fake. Pippinger handoff to Alt. Alt picking up a screen from Peterson. 8 seconds on the shot clock. Wool picking up a screen from Peterson. Shoots the long 2, and that drops for Dan Wool.
That's a great awareness by Wool to get a clean look at the basket. Great screen by Peterson, but got to be more aware of how much time is left on that shot clock.
Philman going to work on Wool, up for 2. It's not there. Nice box out by Peterson. Up to Pippinger real quick, the Forsters. Down low to Wool. Wool to Peterson, Peterson to Alt. Wool with the step back 2, and that's falls.
And I think we mentioned it before, just seeing that ball go in the basket can boost your confidence, and we're seeing that now with Wool. He's drilled his last 2 field goal attempts.
Saw Wool come out slow, and so far he's coming alive out of this timeout, looking to start a run. Irwin going left side, step back, out to Vanderhagen. He'll take a long 2. That's not there. Rebound goes to Wool.
Great job boxing out. That's something the Foresters did not do against Bethel on Tuesday.
Alt drives in, throws it away. Featherston able to come up with that. Irwin picking up a screen, gets it to Philman. Philman right back. Nearing a minute to play. Irwin going to work on Platt, drives in, and a foul called on Kyle Platt. So Irwin will go to the line to shoot a pair. That's only the team's 6th foul, but that is Platt's 2nd.
Number 4, Logan Murray at the line, shooting 2.
Irwin hits the free throw again. I see you shaking your head, Eric, as Irwin jumping on a free throw.
How does that work? How could that possibly work?
I've seen crazier things.
Shaking my head, bro.
Irwin perfect for the night from the free throw stripe. On the season, only a 64% free throw shooter.
Yeah, but he is proving that he can come up clutch in situations like that. If he has to go to the line, just judging by this game, if it comes down to free throws, he'll be able to drain them.
See Heinen back in the game for Alt. He has the ball. Going down to Wool. Wool going to work on film and dish to Peterson. And Peterson with the slam home.
That's a great job by Peterson imposing his will. Slamming it down when he knows he can. That's what you want to see out of Peterson.
Peterson coming up with another steal.
Wow. Peterson is playing his best game of his career right now. It's just a shame that not many others of his teammates are stepping up, but the Foresters will have the last shot here in the half.
So with the shot clock turned off, we're at 15 seconds. Heinen and the Foresters content to dribble this one out to get the last shot. Looking to chip away at this lead. Screened by Wool. Heinen drives, dish to Platt for three, and he's fouled. Looks like Featherston had the block, but then came through just a bit too much, and a clear foul to send Platt to the line to shoot three.
That's a good job by Featherston, though, getting out on the three-point shooter. Again, as you said, a clean block, but it got a lot of the body. And now we'll see Platt drill the first free throw. He's got two more, and that's just great awareness by the young kid.
That's Featherston's second foul as well, as we see Platt drilling the second. 2.5 seconds on the clock. Lancer's not working with too much time.
Still want to play defense here on the Foresters on this inbound. Platt going 3 for 3. Really getting the Foresters back at a good spot here before the half.
Irwin with the prayer, and it's not going to fall. So going into halftime, the Foresters trail the Lancers 39-34, but with a big surge late in the half.
That's a great way. You're down by 10, I believe, 39-29. You're only down by 5 now. That's a great end to that first half, and the Foresters, I think, have some confidence now.
Well, we will be back shortly with some halftime stats and some recap on how it has gone. Make sure you stay tuned here to FDN Sports.
Our Huntington University student halftime shootout is sponsored by Signs Etc. and the Huntington Pizza Hut. Each shooter will shoot from the free throw line, the three-point line, and half court. If they hit the free throw, they win a 2-liter bottle of pop. If they hit the three-point shot, they win a free pizza from Pizza Hut. If they hit the half-court shot, they win a $100 gift certificate. When we call your ticket number, please report to the scoring table with your ticket. The first ticket, 601-029. The second ticket, 601-022. And the third ticket, 601-017. We have one of those tickets. Please report to the scorer's table
So one of the things that's kind of fun about our department is we have regular gatherings. We call them Friday at Fairchild's house, and Dr. Mark Fairchild hosts these gatherings for our majors. We get together, I guess it's about once a month.
First I was like, that's kind of weird, like we're gonna go hang out at a professor's house. But for my Greek class, he offered extra credit if we would go. So I was like, it's worth it. I'll take some friends with me and try it out. And it was a ton of fun.
I think that's one thing that's kind of unique about Huntington. We really are able to joke and get to know each other outside of the classroom on a personal level. We really become friends, I think, with our students.
The experience of being able to sit in a professor's house and engage in scholarly discussion and informal discussion over something faith-based is, I think, very unique to this university.
So Fusion Media is kind of this idea to bring broadcasting and film production together. Just doing media, but maybe not in the news field or in the radio field as broadcasting was.
With Fusion Media, you're not stuck in this cookie cutter route to become a news anchor or a radio DJ. There's so much more you can do with it.
Fusion Media is a way to take those everyday experiences and bring them to the students now, in the moment.
I would say there's so many opportunities for you guys to make an instant impact. We have HTV, we have live stream, we have Fuse FM. Like, we're ready for you right now.
It's so exciting as a freshman to be able to come in and right away be doing hands-on things like being a part of HTV and the radio station. And for a freshman coming in, that's so exciting to be able to do those things.
It's just really new. It's the newest idea that's been out. So no other school is going to offer a broadcast fusion media degree. We're the only one that does that. When you come to HU, you're able to really open your field and to be not just a reporter or not just a videographer, but to become someone who's multi-talented. So you can be on air, you can run a camera, you're kind of a one-man band sort of thing. You're really just given the chance to kind of run with ideas and to make stories and to create them interesting from the ground up. And that's a cool opportunity that you're not allowed to do anywhere else.
Being a theater major is so much more than singing and dancing. It's about telling a story with your performance. It's about engaging with the audience.
When I put on my dancing shoes, I feel a rush. Suddenly, all the pain and sweat from rehearsals is worth it.
Theater demands a lot from a person, what with the long days, exhausting practices, and sore body parts. However, it's got a lot of rewards. Like when I'm getting ready for a performance in front of my boudoir, it hits me. With every stroke of makeup I put on, I realize that there is no place I'd rather be.
Making an audience come alive through our acting, dancing, and singing is an irreplaceable feeling. Being a theater major is a thrilling experience that comes with emotions and excitement. It is during practices that bonds grow stronger.
When I go out there and the spotlight shines on me, everything goes from black and white to color. The small, trivial things suddenly disappear when I'm in front of an audience. And that's what being a theater major is all about.
Welcome back here inside Platt Arena. We are at halftime between the Huntington University Foresters and the Grace College Lancers. Hi everyone, I'm Logan Hunt. Alongside me, I have my colleague Eric Bannon. We've had an exciting first half of action with Grace leading 39-34.
Well, the Foresters, Logan, ended that half very, very well. They got the momentum, I think, back in their side, and this second half is going to be a doozy.
It's going to be a great second half here from Platt Arena as we take a look at some of the second half stats coming up obviously the field goal percentage favors Grace.
Yes, indeed. 15 of 23 from the field. That's absolutely impressive. That's Bethel-esque numbers there in that first half. The Foresters, though, to their credit, have shot 50% themselves, 14 of 28 from the field, and three-pointers kind of got them back into that game at the end of the half. Got one from Kyle Platt and then got fouled on a three-pointer, drained all three of those free throws as well.
I think a big stat that stands out to me is that the Foresters, after getting just completely trashed on the rebounding margin against Bethel, have come out and they lead Grace 12-11 in the rebounding margin, and that's due largely in part to Peterson and Wool doing a great job.
They have 6 offensive, 6 defensive rebounds due to the Foresters in that first half of action. For Grace, it was all defensive pretty much. 9 of the 11 were defensive boards. So the Foresters definitely worked on that in practice these past few days, and they've really improved in that area in this game. And who knows, that could kind of be another turning point that we talked about. Free throw shooting and rebounding are 2 big keys for both teams in this contest.
Well, we know this is a big Crossroads League matchup, but let's take a look at also some of the games around the league.
A great game here in this one. I'm honestly a little surprised that this is going on right now. Mount Vernon with the lead, 42-37 on the road at Bethel in Mishawaka so far, closing in on the end of the first half. Indiana Wesleyan leading 32-27 at the break, and then Taylor leading now 32-23 over the Goshen Maple Leafs. Actually, that score, or excuse me, last score we have 34-28, Marion leading at the half over St. Francis at home.
Obviously, some good matchups going on around the Crossroads. I think one that stands out to me is that Indiana Wesleyan is only up by 5 on Spring Arbor at half.
And Spring Arbor is one of the worst teams, if not the bottom team in the Crossroads League. Their lone win, though, came on the road here in Platte Arena against the Foresters. And they're proven that even though they've had a tough season this year, again, anyone can play with anyone in this Crossroads League.
This Crossroads League is obviously very stacked, and it seems like you said it perfectly, Mr. Banton, earlier, is that anybody can beat anybody, and that's the beauty of the Crossroads League.
And that's also the beauty of some of these NCAA divisions, such as the ACC, I believe. We saw Duke, you know, they're having a tough start. They say they've lost 2 in a row, so obviously they're in some deep trouble here, guys. Whatever. They destroyed Louisville today, and I know you're very happy about that. And, you know, anyone can play in the ACC with any ACC team. Notre Dame struggled with a Georgia Tech team. That wasn't very good. And they are still trucking. They're in the top 15 in the rankings. So you can take records all the way out the window. All you got to focus on is your conference record at this point in the season.
And the Foresters definitely need to focus on their conference record right there in that bottom half of the Crossroads League. But ultimately, anything can change in a matter of 3 or 4 games. You can find yourself at the bottom and then work your way from the bottom to the top.
And right now, again, if things stay the way they are, the Foresters would fall out of the top 8 with Taylor leading Goshen 32-23. The Foresters need a big second half here. This is their time to shine, and they're going to have it against a Grace team I'm sure is probably going to stick with what brought them, because their shooting has just been lights out so far.
Well, Eric, who do you think really needs to come alive for the Foresters in order for them to take the lead in this second half and keep it?
Well, honestly, I think you still need to go through Alec Peterson, because he was on fire. 5 of 5, 10 points, 4 rebounds. That kid, something clicked with him in those days of practice. I don't know exactly what. I honestly cannot tell you a better game that Alec has played in his college career. I mean, this kid, you usually see him a little timid out there, doesn't play up to that 6'10 frame, but give credit to him today. He is playing great basketball.
Peterson, looking at his individual stats, leads the Foresters with 10 points, 4 rebounds, 3 offensive rebounds of those, also 2 steals.
Not very often we see that guy grab steals, but one of them, he was a little lucky, I'll give him that. But, I mean, he's going after the basketball against Williams. He's winning that matchup, I think, right now.
Also, Peterson, a perfect 5 for 5 from the field so far. Doing a great job. Next leading scorer for the Foresters is Derek Heinen with 7 points. Derek Hine always going to give you some points in scoring. Now looking at Grace, it's Logan Irwin leading all scorers with 14 points, and then Brandon Vanderhagen with 12 points. And like we said, Grace College shooting the three ball well, only taking 4 threes, but hit 3 of them. And the Foresters, like we saw here during halftime warmups, didn't even come out and do layups. They just had the guards out there taking threes, with them only shooting 2 for 8 from the 3-point mark.
And another thing we realize is that the stats are remaining true. The offense is running through Irwin and Vanderhagen now with those 12 points at the break. Good to see that effort out of him. But it's a little surprising, at least in my opinion, that Featherston hasn't produced as much as we thought he would. This guy, he's got a lot to live up to. Colin Featherston, a former Forester player, did an excellent job in his time here at HU. But, I think we might start seeing a little bit more out of the Featherston. I imagine he was pretty hungry there in the locker room trying to get ready for the start of this second half.
Well, we know that these Foresters need to come out and definitely shoot the 3-ball well and work through Peterson. And you got to like what Coach Hotchkiss has done here, bringing in a lot of these great recruits, a lot of young guys here for the Foresters.
Yeah, and we talked about it a little bit this season. Only 2 seniors, no juniors whatsoever, and the rest are freshmen and sophomores. So you could see a lot of growth and development in this Forester team. They could give a lot of teams trouble when they start to grow, develop, and get that mind for the game that I think Coach Platt is looking for.
Well, I think what's crazy also is that Coach Hotchkiss does a great job bringing in these guys. He's also a state trooper here for Indiana.
And we love those that protect and serve, and Coach Hotchkiss protecting the Forester investments here with that great recruiting.
As I know a good trooper Kiefer, he's right in Huntington, Indiana. Got to give a quick shout out to him, being the best trooper that I know.
And there we saw it as we started the second half. Peterson knocking the ball away again against Williams. He's just playing out of his mind right now. I can't remember the last time Peterson has played this solid defensively. It's great to see him playing this way.
It is great to see the Foresters playing well right now. As we see a turnover from the Lancers, Wool with the ball, and that's how Grace comes out of halftime with a turnover.
And I think that's because the momentum really shifted to the Foresters at the end of that half. Again, they were down by double digits and cut it to a 5-point lead. They're starting to play within their roles now, I think, too.
Here comes Peterson on the low block against Williams. Goes right at him. Lefty hook is in.
6 for 6 now for Alec Peterson. Put it on the board, and the Foresters are only down 3.
Well, I don't think Alec Peterson's ever hit 20 points in his time here at Huntington, but we might be looking at a possible one tonight. And Peterson going to be called for the foul on Williams.
I think Williams is getting a little frustrated. Peterson's been on him like glue pretty much this whole time since he's been on the floor, and he's getting a little frustrated, but Alex got to be a little aware now. That's his second foul.
Good to mention that's his second foul. We saw Lockwood struggle against Williams. So we see Peterson going right over the top of Irwin. But nice to mention that Peterson's going to have to stay in this ball game because no other bigs had success against Williams.
Exactly. And Peterson's honestly very lucky he didn't get called for that third foul and an and one opportunity. Let's see if Wool can heat up.
Pippinger doing a good job getting a hand on that, but just know the Forester was there to corral the board. We see Irwin with a pull-up 3, and that's good.
Irwin with a little smirk on his face as he's heading back to play some defense, and he knows that his outside shooting is superb at this point in the game. That just pushed the lead up to 8 for the Lancers, and when it looked like the Foresters were going to start whittling that lead away.
Wool one-on-one with Philman. Spin move goes around him. Not there. Peterson with the board, though. Now he's going to try to go to work against Williams. Nothing there. Smartly gets it back out to Alt. Alt to Pippinger. Pippinger going down to Wool on a foul. This foul will be on Philman. That'll be his second foul and the team's first.
Starting to see a little foul trouble now on both sides. Peterson has 2. Kyle Platt has 2 for the Foresters, and now Philman picks up his second. Good dish to Peterson, just couldn't finish.
And the ball going out of bounds. Forester's going to keep possession. Looked like Peterson maybe got fouled there, but nonetheless, Forester's keeping the ball.
Still plenty of time on the shot clock, too. They have a good opportunity to drop a nice play, and Coach Platt, I think, has got these guys prepared for this possession.
Wool gets it off to Heinen. Picking up a screen from Wool. Heinen going behind the back, spin move, and a travel called on Derek Heinen. Looks like he shuffled his feet going backwards there.
Very congested lane. I think Heinen should have gotten the ball back around at the perimeter. Again, he likes to drive inside, but sometimes he gets a little indecisive and doesn't know exactly what to do with it. And again, that'll come with more experience on the floor. He's only a sophomore, and he's still playing decently well.
Vanderhagen gonna shoot the three, and that drops for Vanderhagen.
And I'm starting to notice with Pippinger, he's just biting very easily on those fake passes, and he's just not able to get back as quick as I'm sure Coach Platt wants him to.
Heinen driving in, back out to Wool. Wool moving the ball around, gets it to Pippinger in the lane, and that doesn't fall. Loose ball, Alt hitting it, hustling for it on the outside, and keeps it in bounds. And the Foresters reset offensively.
That was probably the hardest I have seen Alt hustle, but my goodness, that's a block.
That's a real man's block there. As we see Williams now exiting for Bowen. Williams, just an incredible block. So we see the Foresters bringing in Lockwood now for Peterson, now that Williams goes to the bench.
That's also a very good job by the Foresters playing to what Grace has on the floor. They don't want to get Peterson in foul trouble because he's the biggest guy on the floor. They just got to manage his time.
Alt with the missed three, offensive board going to Heinen and Wool. Working together there. Pippinger gets it to Alt. Heinen wants the ball back, picking up a screen from Wool. Throw back to Wool, top of the key, and a foul called. This one.
Oh, go ahead there.
Sorry, this one will be on Philman. He picks up two quick ones. That's his third already.
And we're hearing Coach Platt here on the sideline saying, move the ball. The Foresters haven't exactly been able to confuse Grace with their passes because they haven't been as fast as Grace's has been, because they're moving the ball very well back and forth. And now we see Peterson come in with Williams back on the floor as well.
Good coaching there by Coach Platt to make sure Peterson got in there with Williams. And now an offensive foul on Alt. Irwin with, looks like he might win an award for that flop there. And, you know, if he was in the NBA, that's a $5,000 fine coming his way.
It happened so quick, Logan, I didn't exactly see it, but I'm going to take your word for it because there's no way that Peterson could have possibly knocked him that silly on the floor.
Irwin with it, gets it to Vanderhagen. Williams pleading for the ball down low. Peterson right on him. Bowen gets it to Vanderhagen. Featherston with it now in the corner. 10 on the shot clock. Featherston driving left side, pull up. And that one doesn't rattle home. Wool with the board. And here comes Heinen. Driving in, and he is fouled hard.
Man, Williams, he has got some speed for a big guy, and when he's going in for a block, you better get out of the way because he's going to destroy you. Luckily, Heinen was even able to stay on his feet. That's a good credit to Derek Heinen.
Well, I'm telling you what, Williams also been channeling his fellow native man Usain Bolt from Jamaica getting down that court. He was booking it. Looks like he could have broken the world record himself. What an incredible job by the Lancers getting back there defensively, but the Foresters find themselves down here by 11 with 15:40 remaining, and it takes us to our first media timeout. And Eric, what do the Foresters need to do to close this gap? But they've lost some of their lead already here on the Lancers.
And right now, I think this is the most important possession of the ball game. The Foresters have to get it within single digits again. Only down 11, it's very possible they could do that. They've got to get somehow Wool involved on the inside because he hasn't been able to drive to the hoop like he wants in this game. Heinen's been doing the slashing inside, and Alec the last few times hasn't exactly found his shot. But when Logan Irwin is 7 of 7 from the field, there's just not much you can really do about that. Logan has 19 points, 3 of 3 from the free throw line also, so he's proving those doubters wrong that he can't shoot free throws this year.
Lancers so far playing lights out offensively. It's hard for the Foresters to stop. But they're going to have to get it together to get themselves back into this ball game. We see Heinen will be at the line to shoot 2 out of this timeout. And
Grace already 3 of 4 in the half, shooting the ball up to 66.6 repeating percent.
Just incredible numbers. We see Heinen hitting the first. He went 1 for 2 from the line earlier in the first half and looking to convert on this trip.
And he has to start doing that with the lead as it is and the time remaining. This has got to be important. Oh my gosh, that was on the rim forever. It's like time stood still.
What a crazy free throw there from Heinen. We see Wool coming up with the steal.
Oh, let's see him throw it down here.
There it is.
Haven't seen too many of those, Logan, but I think that got this crowd energized.
And the lead's trimmed to 7. Irwin with the handoff to Vanderberg, up top to Hoffer. Hoffer with the floater. That's not there. Rebound goes to Wool. And the Force looking energized as Heinen running it down the court. Back to Wool. Wool getting it stolen away by Vanderberg. Gets it to Bowen, and it's poked away by Heinen. And Heinen slowing it up for the Foresters.
If they weren't going to slow up, they would have probably turned it over again, Logan. These teams are just playing too fast for their own good. And we saw that against Bethel on Tuesday. The Foresters tried to match pace with Bethel. They couldn't exactly do it.
Heinen with the long 2. Not there. Peterson with the board, and he is fouled. And this crowd erupts with Alec Peterson with another offensive rebound.
This kid's playing out of his mind. I tell you what, I haven't seen him. I've mentioned it over and over, but this is his best game that I've seen him play, and he's playing it at the best time right now in this game. That's the first foul on Hoffer.
And Peterson missing the first there. Able to get the second one, though. And the lead's back down to 6 for the Lancers.
It's a very tough 2-possession game, but the Foresters, the way they've been forcing turnovers recently, they may just be able to trim it down to 1 possession. And Dan Wool almost provided that turnover.
Irwin with the ball, picking up a screen from Williams. Driving in left side. Goes up, swatted away by Peterson.
I think Irwin knows better than to do that. Peterson had that one well, easily.
Wool with the ball on the baseline, going in on Williams to Peterson. Peterson goes up for 2 and gets that one to go.
Peterson's becoming a man right now. Timeout, Grace. I love it.
I'm with you, Eric. I've only been here for a season, and I've never seen Alec Peterson play with such heart. There was no timidness in that. He's going straight up with the ball every time, not putting the ball on the ground, just holds it up, going strong to the rim, and you gotta love what you see out of Big Al.
I'm loving it right now. This cat is unstoppable. He's beating Williams almost at will now offensively. Williams just doesn't have the answer for him down low. Alec has 15 points, 6 rebounds. This kid has only missed 1 shot from the floor, and it was pretty contested down low. If this kid can keep playing the last 13:57, the Foresters may find themselves back in this game.
Coach Kessler for Grace had to use his first time out of the ball game to stop the bleeding caused by Alec Peterson.
And we were talking, it was, I believe, an 11-point lead for the Lancers. It's trimmed down to 4. Another stop gives great momentum to the Foresters.
Irwin with the ball up top, out to Vanderhagen on the perimeter. Picking up a screen from Williams. Vanderhagen, floater in the lane, and that falls.
Would have liked to seen Peterson get his hand up and at least contest that shot. He may have gotten a little lost, though, trying to fight through that screen provided by one of the Grace players.
Heinen getting the play going. Gets it to Platt on the near side. Platt up to Wool. Wool down to Heinen. Heinen going to work on Vanderhagen. Back to Peterson. Peterson up for 2, and that's good. Maybe even an and 1.
That was very close to being an and one. Honestly, though, I thought Peterson was going to get called for that travel. The ball was bobbled a little bit, but he kept with it. Nice vision and great awareness by Peterson.
Bowen left open for three, way off the mark, off the head of Heinen, and out of bounds. Unfortunate there for the Foresters.
Heinen's got to be a little bit more aware. Even though the ball was going to go out of bounds, I thought he easily could have gotten his mitts on it.
Vanderhagen has Pippinger draped on him. Bowen gets it to Irwin. Up to Hoffer. Lancers working the ball around the perimeter well. Hoffer with the ball, gets it to Vanderhagen. Vanderhagen driving baseline. Pull back out to Hoffer. Hoffer to Vanderhagen again. And Irwin with the ball up top.
Now they're fighting through screens, Logan.
5 seconds, Irwin drives in. Can't get that to fall, and Wool with a strong board.
That's a man's rebound right there. Dan Wool giving the Foresters another chance.
Heinen to Pippinger. Pippinger down to Peterson.
Back him down, Al.
Out to Platt for three. Not there. Bowen with the strong board for Grace.
Boy, if that three-pointer had fell, though, this arena would have erupted, and I think Grace would have had to call another timeout.
Just under 12 minutes remaining in this ballgame. Lancers with the 4-point advantage. Wool almost with the steal. Bowen drive in, dish to Williams, and Wool with the block, and hits it in bounds. Pippinger comes up with it. Off the hand of Vandenbergen, and the Foresters force the turnover.
Dan Wool described perfectly the tightrope along the sideline. How he was able to save it, get it to Pippinger, and then Pippinger's awareness to knock it out of Vanderhagen was unbelievable. The effort was off the page.
We saw Williams exit, Peterson exits with him. Lockwood coming in. Wool with the ball, spin move, dish to Lockwood, and a slam, a jammer! The freshman slamming it home.
Turn up, Big Cat. That young freshman just got the crowd on its feet.
And a full timeout by Coach Kessler. The Foresters pulling this one within two. 11-13 remaining, and Lockwood and Peterson.
He's hyped.
Putting it together.
I like it. That double team move is working. We saw it also in the home game against Grace last season. Shane Merriman would back down his two and draw the double team. That left Peterson open, and he slammed it down 2 straight possessions, one on each side of the lane. That seems to be the plan now for the Foresters, and it worked to perfection there with the freshman, Trevor Lockwood, getting up there with his 6'8" frame.
Well, I think something we have to mention is Daniel Wool creating that. What a spin move he had in the lane, playing like a guard.
The B button was in full effect right there. I loved it. Dan Wool's finding his rhythm now. He's starting to feed off of this crowd a little bit as well. And the Foresters are slowly working their way back into this one with just over 11 minutes left.
Well, I know we were talking about pregame, all the size that the Lancers had, but so far it's been the Foresters winning the battle in the paint.
Yes, they are. They're leading with points in the paint as well in this game so far, 26-20 against the Lancers. And also in second chance points, 8-4 in the Foresters' favor. They're really starting to find a home down there in the paint, and they're taking advantage every time.
We know that Clark, who is out with an injury for the Foresters, usually gets a lot of those rebounds, and Peterson, Lockwood, and Wool all stepping up huge to fill that void. And just doing a fantastic job so far.
Both Wool and Peterson now with 6 rebounds apiece.
Hoffer with the ball. Gets it to Bowen. Bowen back to Hoffer. Lance is working it around the perimeter. Philman trying to get the ball down on Wool, and does. He goes up, and Wool going to be called for a foul. And this crowd does not appreciate that call. And it looked like Wool had his hands straight up, but nonetheless, that is Dan's first foul and the team's third. That will send Philman to the line to shoot 2.
I think Coach Platt has to realize now that Williams is set to check in. He's got to send Peterson in to also counteract that challenge, and he just did. He sent him to the scores table. Both guys are going to come in, and Grace just extended the lead to 3 with Philman's free throw, but the crowd appreciating the effort out of Trevor Lockwood, the freshman.
Philman with a very unique free throw routine, as you can see. And he gets both of them to fall somehow to extend the lead back to 4 as we see Featherston coming in for Hoffer. And Alt will come in now for Pippinger.
This is a good switch. Get some experience on the floor for the Forcers. Also a great defender. But Grace is going to counter that with a little bit of full court pressure.
Alt bringing the ball up court on Irwin. He'll get a handoff to Heinen. Heinen dribbling at the top of the key. Gonna get it to Wool, right back to Heinen. Heinen backing down Vanderhagen, goes up, and he gets fouled, and one opportunity from Derek Heinen. The general leading his troops back into this ball game.
I'm channeling a little Sergio Brown, and I'm feeling it right now. Now give me 2 claps and a Ric Flair. Woo! Derek Heinen stepping up. What a spin move, much like Wool had earlier. Got the kiss off the glass and makes good on the 3-point play.
1 point lead now for the Lancers as we near the halfway mark in this half. Peterson gonna get called for a foul on Williams, going for that steal. And you know it was only a matter of time before that was called to see Peterson get away with it twice.
That's now his 4th. He's gonna have to be very, very careful, is Peterson. They're gonna send in Lockwood, but now he'll have to go one-on-one with Williams, and Lockwood hasn't had much success defensively against him.
Now's the time for the freshman. Got a dunk, and now he can make a name for himself playing defense on the near 7-footer from Jamaica. He's doing a great job so far. We see him on the low block battle, and Irwin with it. Featherston up top. Gonna drive back to Philman. Philman creating space. Can't get it to fall. Rebound goes to Dan Wool and Heinen. They're gonna be called for a travel. You know, I'm not sure that Wool or Heinen had possession of the ball.
Hearing the true emotions of Coach Platt on the bench, he said that's terrible. I'm not gonna repeat the others, but Grace capitalizing on the flustered Foresters there.
Heinen bringing the ball up. Only a 3-point ball game. Alt with it. Getting to Heinen. Heinen dish to Lockwood up for 2, and that's easy.
What a move by the freshman, channeling a little bit of Shane Merriman with the body control. He's got the number. He's got the look. Man, that was almost Shane Merriman-esque right there.
Williams with the ball. Out to Featherston. Philman with it on Wool. Going to work. Irwin with it. 15 seconds on the shot clock. Picking up a screen from Williams. Pull up for 2, and that falls for Irwin. And this crowd is energized. The Forest is in it.
Could have been a few foul calls against Grace. Coach Platt, though, telling his guys to play through it. That's the attitude you got to have right now. Still only a 3-point game. Plenty of time.
And
we're tied, though, now.
Derek Heinen tying the game at 55.
Oh, we're having another classic in here, Logan. Platt Arena just seems to have some magic about these kinds of games.
Vanderhagen taking it in. Dish to Williams. Williams goes up, misses that. And Kyle Platt with a board and a foul on Williams. And Coach Platt is fired up with how well his Foresters are playing. That's Williams' first foul of the ball game.
And it's hard to believe, isn't it? A guy of his stature only committing his first foul with 8:39 left in the game in regulation. But he's been playing really clean. Could have had a few more already at this point, but they don't care. The Foresters playing well enough to still hang with the Lancers.
And the ball hit out of bounds by Vanderhagen, so the Foresters will keep possession. 26 on the shot clock. But something else to mention, that was the Lancers' 6th foul. So next foul, the Foresters are in the bonus and shooting free throws the rest of this game. Alt with it, gets it down to Heinen. Heinen posting up Irwin, and he is fouled.
We talked about drawing fouls in the pregame for Grace. They have not been doing a very good job of that. Now the Foresters, they've gotten into the bonus now. They're where they want to be. We've got to get them in those good free throw shooters' hands and make that an emphasis here in the late stages. But Heinen, unfortunately, couldn't connect on the first. I was going to say, though, when the crunch time was on, I couldn't think of another great player to have it in his hands.
Heinen usually does hit these clutch free throws. We see him going 1 for 2 from the line. And that gives the Foresters the lead for the first time in this half.
As far as I know, Logan, that may be the first lead they've had all game.
How will the Lancers respond? Irwin with the ball, picking up a screen from Williams. Dish to Philman. And Philman able to pump it, get to Irwin for 3. That's no good. Philman comes up with the board. He goes up for 2. It's not there. Williams gets it, and he gets it to fall, and 1 coming from the Lancers. That foul goes on Wool, and that is his 2nd and the team's 5th. So Williams will be at the line to shoot 1.
Media is gone because I believe Grace took a full timeout prior to the second one occurring. So the media is gone for this half, but it's going to be a full timeout regardless from Grace, now playing with a 2-point lead.
Just under 8 minutes remain in this ball game, and you said it best, Eric. It looks like we have a classic in store for us here inside Platt Arena.
They're going to send Pimpinger in after the timeout. I believe he will come in for all. We've seen that flip-flop a lot during this game and a little bit during this season. Pippinger has been relatively quiet today. Not exactly the point numbers. He's only 1 of 4 from the field with 3 points. We saw him come on late, though, against Bethel. And I think this is the time where he has to step up and provide that third man that we've been talking about so much these last few games for the Foresters. Yeah, it's been the Wool and Heinen show, but somebody else has to fill another role.
I say Wool and Heinen have been doing it all, but Peterson also made a name for himself so far tonight, really coming alive, but he's been on the bench with those 4 fouls, and now it's going to come down to when does Alec Peterson come back in this ball, because as we saw Williams cleaning up the offensive glass for the Lancers.
I think the objective here, if I'm Coach Platt, is to put Alec in with about 3, maybe 4 minutes at the earliest, as late as 2 minutes left in regulation, because you cannot afford to get him out of the game with how well he's been playing. 8 and 9 from the field, 6 rebounds, 17 points. This kid is simply doing it all for the Foresters. They have to bring him in at exactly the right moment.
I say with under 8 minutes to go, Foresters down by 2. It's going to come down to a battle in the paint as we see the Lancers coming out of this timeout with some full court pressure. And Pippinger has it. Running it up court. He'll get into the hands of Heinen. Heinen right back to Pippinger on the far side. Gets it to Lockwood. Lockwood to Platt. Platt pump fake. Back to Heinen. Heinen takes a long 2. Off the front rim, no good. Philman with the rebound.
Does a great job boxing out by Philman, just wrapping up the ball and protecting it.
Philman with it, looking down to Williams. And an offensive foul called on Williams with the push on Lockwood. Great defense there from Lockwood to force that foul on Williams.
I think what Lockwood has been trying to do is to try to shield off the pass to him, because he knows he can't exactly defend with himself between the basket and Williams. He's trying to force them to pass over the top of him, and that's provided Grace with some problems.
Wool has it on the perimeter, finds Heinen. Heinen to Pippinger. Pippinger takes the elbow J, and that drops to tie it back at 58.
And now we may just see Kyle Pippinger start to gain that confidence like he did against Bethel. Let's see if that happens.
Irwin with a strong drive, not there. Kick out back to him off the rebound.
Irwin has been very aggressive with that forearm. I'm surprised he hasn't been called for a push-off, and the Foresters have to be aware of that.
Featherston with another miss. Williams with the rebound, able to get Lockwood off his feet, and he puts an easy putback. And I think it's time for Big Al to come in, and it is. He's reporting to the scores table. Just around 6 minutes remain.
This is a little earlier than I would have expected him to come in, but Lockwood is getting beat defensively. Williams is starting to find his rhythm too. But there's Pippinger.
And you know, those are 2 shots in a row from Pippinger that we wouldn't have seen him take prior to that Bethel game. He really has gained some confidence in his game. And I think he's gotten the green light from Coach Platt.
I believe so, and when you get that green light, that's the greatest feeling in the world.
Irwin gets caught, but gets it back to Vanderhagen. 20 seconds on the shot clock. Vanderhagen dish to Featherston. Back to Philman. He's driving in. And a travel call on Philman. And that will bring Big Al back in the game for Lockwood.
Now, I would imagine on every stoppage of play, we're going to see the switch, though, from the Foresters. They have to preserve Al's playing time and get him out on offense only. You can't afford for him to pick up that 5th foul.
Heinen picking up a screen there, gets it to Pippinger. Pippinger fake, goes into the lane, trying to draw contact. It's not there. And the miss. Featherston with the board.
Coach Platt knows that was a missed opportunity. Pippinger had a clean look, just could not finish for some reason. There on the drive.
I think he saw Williams coming and didn't want to get swatted again. We see Irwin picking up the screen from Williams. Vanderhagen has the ball, driving in, up for 2, not there. Good rebound from Pippinger.
Way to make up for it. That's a great way to get your confidence of your coach back.
Get it to Peterson. Get it to Peterson. Battling down low with Williams. Oh, missed opportunity there from the Foresters as Wool has the ball, driving in on Philman, gets caught, finds Peterson, goes right at Williams, gets it blocked and tipped out of bounds by Peterson. So the Lancers with the ball.
And the up and downs of Coach Platt at the bench is just crazy to watch. He is so emotional out there. Sometimes it can hurt him, but that's what the Foresters need. They need some motivation right now.
Tied at 60, 4:20 remains. Irwin with the ball. Philman and the Lancers looking for Williams down low. Irwin with the drive, goes up for 2 and gets that one to fall.
I think Heinen was even talking to one of the officials. He's asking about that push-off, I think, because Irwin has been very active with his arm trying to get rid of defenders.
Heinen with the ball up top. Gonna get it to Pippinger. Pippinger picking up a screen from Wool. Driving in for 2, and he is fouled.
Oh, man.
And Pippinger looks like he took a nasty hit there to the groin area, but he will be going to the line to shoot 2. And Pippinger is the best free throw shooter on this Forester squad, shooting about 85% from the free throw line.
Yeah, he is, and he's just got to block it out right now. Anytime you have an injury of that type, it can be a little tough, but you just got to walk it off. Take your time if you can.
Daniel Wool again bringing the towel out to swipe the wet away. Always worried about the floor.
A workman's effort out of Dan every time.
You gotta love it. Pippinger has a chance to tie this ball game at 62 with these 2 free throws. So we see him drill the first, silky smooth.
The way he just snaps it off at the top of the arc of his shot, it's very pleasant, very pleasing to the ear to watch as it goes through the hoop.
We'll see a second free throw splash right through the same.
It's robotic now.
Tied at 62. 3:40 remains in this ball game here at Platt Arena. Featherston.
Oh, go ahead there, Logan.
Driving in, couldn't quite get that, and a rebound goes to Philman and the Lancers.
And now the rebounding is getting to the Foresters. Like we saw against Bethel, they're having a tough time getting defensive glass. They've got to start pulling them down. I was going to mention, though, that puts Huntington 1 away from the double bonus on the next Grace foul. So that's going to be important for them to get to.
Featherston with a near air ball there. And Heinen's bringing it the other way, pulling it back out, gets it to Pippinger in the corner. Back to Heinen, and the Foresters getting directions from Coach Platt. Pippinger with it on the near side, screen from Peterson. Pippinger gets it to Peterson, going to work on Williams, up for two, and not there. Irwin bringing it the other way quickly. And now we'll pull it back out, and we see a timeout from Grace. With 2:45 remaining, we're tied at 62. And what an up and down battle it's been for the Foresters.
And this game looked like it was going to be an offensive shootout, but at only 62 all, it's provided completely the opposite here in the second half. I mean, these two teams were on pace to be at right around 68 and maybe 70 combined, or both. But hey, credit both teams' defense. They've both stepped up today.
Well, we saw on that last possession, Peterson got the ball in the paint, went to his outside for the hook, and Williams is right there. Coach Platt wanting a foul called on Williams, bringing his hands down. But I don't think you're going to get that call that late. The Foresters going to just have to really muscle their way through these final 2 minutes.
And I think Williams just played solid defense there. He was straight up. I didn't really see too much the referees could have called there, so that's just great discipline and defense by Williams. Al's just got to start trying to finish those a little more now. He's missed his last few shots. I believe he sits actually at 8 of 11 from the field, but still, that's a great day for him. I'd like to see him start stepping up, though, here late. Again, he is playing with 4 fouls. He may be playing tentative on defense, but time is right now. This is where legends are made, as they say, and what a better time than to get a bounce-back win after a game that I think the Foresters knew they could have won. They just let it get away late.
Well, something that I like is that it's Heinen, Pippinger, Platt, Wool, and Peterson on the floor. Strong lineup there, a long athletic lineup, and all 5 of those guys have the confidence to take a shot.
Coach Platt's as nervous. He just picked up the towel and he's wiping off his face, so he's getting into this one.
Irwin driving on Heinen, dish to Vandenberg. Pippinger right there.
Great pursuit by Pip. Didn't want Vanderhagen to take that corner 3. That probably would have gone in considering how well Grace has shot today.
Irwin picking up a screen at the top of the key. Step back 2. Off the front iron, no good. Heinen with the board. Wool running the court, gets the pass and gets in for 2. What a pass from Derek Heinen, or should I say Andrew Luck.
My goodness. If you'd have told me the Foresters would somehow find a way to take the lead back after being down by double digits more than once, I'd have called you crazy. And an over-the-back foul on Williams.
That's going to be Williams' 3rd foul and the team's 10th. Double bonus time for the Foresters, and I believe it's going to be Pippinger at the line to shoot.
You're correct. And I love the fight of Pippinger going after the rebounds. Much like we see Courtney Baker with the women's Forester team, he's starting to crash the boards now, and that could be a big asset for the Foresters is his rebounding game when he's been scoring the ball here great late in ball games.
Pippinger able to drill the free throws. We see Hoffer coming in for Featherston.
And we talk about Pippinger coming through in big situations. I mean, we really forget he hit that big 3 against Asbury very early in the season, but you can't forget about that. In clutch situations, you know Pippinger's going to provide some good stuff for you.
Just under 2 minutes, Foresters with a 4-point advantage. Williams with the ball on the block. He's not giving it away. Peterson right there, but Williams able to go over the top.
Referees are letting those two play down in the lane, and it's going to be a great battle to see here in the late stages. 1.5 to go. I wonder how this one's going to finish. My blood pressure is sky high.
Well, you don't see it too often, 2 7-footer or near 7-footers going at it in the paint, the NAI league. So you got to love what you see as Heinen going behind the back, driving in, just gets it to Wool. He goes up for 2. Not there. Irwin with the board. So we near 1 minute to go in this ball game. Irwin gets it to Vonderhagen. He'll give it right back. Irwin dribbling around, back to Vonderhagen.
Those high ball screens are just not exactly working for the Lancers right now, which is surprising.
driving in, is fouled by Heinen. Not a bad foul, only the team's 6th foul. Believe that's going to be Heinen's first foul. But 53 seconds remain and a fresh 35 for Grace, and Coach Platt is going to take a timeout.
And with 53.7 to play, that leaves about 28 seconds between shot and game clock.
That's if Grace uses all 35.
That is, yes. If they use all of it, which I imagine they'll take it down probably close to 5 and then take a shot, Logan. Again, you only need a 2 to tie, but you don't want to leave enough time so the Foresters could have the last shot.
Well, the question also becomes, do the Lancers want to go for a 2-for-1 opportunity where they could get a quick 2 here, and if you miss, you still have time to get a last shot off. You have to play great defense, but you could go 2-for-1 and the Lancers could still get the last shot.
That is a great point to bring up there, Logan. I hadn't exactly thought of that myself, but if you are Grace, why not try that? If you do make it, you tie the game, and you leave the Foresters having to take the shot with still time on the clock if you get a stop yourself. So I like that theory. That may be what Coach Cussler is talking about in the huddle for Grace.
Well, you got to think, Williams has been the main guy for Grace all night. But the ball it's going to be inbounded from underneath the Lancers' own basket. Throw it up to Williams, let him go up for 2 real fast. He could get fouled or get the shot to go, and you still have plenty of time to get that 2-for-1 opportunity, and then you put the pressure on the Foresters.
And especially if you do it against Peterson as far as drawing the foul, because if you do that, he's out for the rest of regulation and for overtime.
Yes.
So why not try and attack that weakness, if anything, for the Foresters?
Irwin gets the inbound. If there's going to be anyone taking a 3, it should be him. He'll get it to Vanderhagen, right back to Irwin. They're looking down low to Williams. Not there. He'll pick up a screen. Shoots the 3, and it's money by Irwin. With 40 seconds remaining, 5-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock.
The big thing is a basket beats you, though. The Foresters, if they even get a 2 or a 3, they will take the lead. The problem is, on that last play, Peterson needed to stay on the perimeter. I don't care if Logan Irwin is that much smaller than you. You have to get a hand in his face. Heck, your wingspan should be able to block it alone. But you got to credit Irwin. He's been coming through big today. 9 of 14 from the field, 23 points for that young man. He's been coming through seemingly all game when the Lancers need him the most.
Irwin with great 3-point shooting. And I said, if there's anyone's going to take it, it needs to be him. He's been lights out from 3 all game long.
And even Vanderhagen, he's 3 for 3 today from beyond the arc, and he's got 19 points for himself as well. The thing you got to worry about now for the Foresters is, do you go for a quick 2, or do you hold back? Because you have to leave Grace with as little time as possible. I would think, like we mentioned with Grace on this previous possession, they went ahead and took a quick shot, and that left the Foresters with the ability to not have that last shot late.
Well, you got to think right here, Foresters, like you said, want to run that clock all the way down, to nearly nothing, get that shot clock down, because if you make it, maybe another second or something will come off the clock. You're giving Grace 4 to 5 seconds, somewhere in there of time, depending on when you call a timeout and all that.
If they take the shot and make it with about 5 on the shot clock, that'll leave about 10 seconds for Grace. So the defense around the perimeter's got to be key. Getting back on defense first is what you want to do if the Foresters do happen to convert on this possession.
Foresters also in the double bonus, so 2 shots no matter what on a foul.
And I would imagine, why not try that if you are the Lancers? Foul Alec Peterson, because he's not the best free throw shooter. He may not be able to convert on those last 2. But Wool, putting the team on his back, draws the foul.
2 big free throws coming from Daniel Wool. And that's also Philman's 4th foul of the game.
This is the most I've seen Coach Platt use any kind of towel in my time here at Huntington University. This guy is sweating out this last now 20.8 seconds.
Starting to look like John Thompson from Georgetown. We see Wool drilling the first one that tied at 67. That was the big one. And Wool with the quick release, rattles it home. 20 seconds now. Foresters with a 1-point advantage, 68-67, and Grace will call a timeout. Well, just like that, The Foresters on top by 1. 17.1 seconds officially here in Platt Arena. And it'll be Grace getting what could be the last shot of this ball game. And something to note, Huntington has 6 fouls already, so Grace is in the bonus. Any foul, they're shooting the 1-and-1.
Yes, but you got to remember, this Grace team, not the greatest at shooting free throws. You might try and quick foul and go for the rebound on the missed free throw if that does occur. But you've got to foul the right shooter. Irwin has struggled this year shooting free throws, but today he is 3 for 3 from the stripe with that most awkward routine from the line. He's still been able to come through. I would like to see them try and foul Philman. Philman has another awkward release. That one could go absolutely anywhere if it hits rim. But today for him, he's 2 for 2. A tough situation, and I'm definitely glad I'm not Coach Platt right now.
Also, Chad Hoffer, the freshman, will be in the ball game. He hasn't taken too many free throws all year, only 20 free throws all year. He's 60% from the line. If it came down to it, if he went up for a layup, I'd foul him right off the bat. But I think the ball is only going to be in Irwin's and Williams' hand. Maybe Vandenberg will get his hands on it too. But Vanderhagen, Williams, and Irwin will be the 3 guys to watch out for.
And all of those guys have just absolutely killed it shooting the basketball. 23 for a combined 34 from the field among those 3 guys. Usually you see that for a whole team in one game. Let's see what happens.
You got to think Grace wants to go down low to Williams with 10 on the shot, or 10 on the clock, excuse me. Irwin drives out to Philman for 2. It's blocked and fouled. And 1 opportunity for Philman as the Lancers take the lead.
And that was Peterson picking up the foul.
And he has fouled out of the ball game. And Tyler Alt, I believe, will come in for Peterson. 4.2 seconds remain. Grace Lancers just taking the lead, 69-68, and Philman's at the line to shoot 1 as Peterson exits the ballgame with his 5th foul. He's going to get a huge round of applause as Huntington will take a timeout, and that is their last timeout. So make or miss here. They got to get it down the floor. You don't need a 3, you just need a 2. Depending on if Philman hits, you can tie it up. Or if you want to take the 3, go ahead. If you're going to take the 3, get it to Kyle Pippinger.
Either him or Tyler Alt. Remember, he's going to check into the game for Peterson. Now the problem here is, if Grace intentionally decides to miss this free throw, the Foresters do not have the size inside to go for the rebound because Williams is still in. We will see Featherston check in. It'll be interesting to see who he comes in for. But as of right now, Grace has the size inside. And if they intentionally miss this free throw, they may just come up with the rebound even though they don't have the numbers to go for it in the lane.
If I'm Grace, I'm going to intentionally miss this free throw. 4 seconds. By the time you get a rebound, depending on who gets it, you got to think Dan Wool will be the one to get the rebound. You know, that's going to be a second right there, and you're going to force Dan Wool to bring it 2 or 3 seconds up court. You can get to about half court and get a heave. Maybe a little farther if he finds someone that he can get the outlet pass to. So if I'm Grace, I take my chances on a long prayer of a shot from Huntington rather than hitting the shot and giving them a chance to set up.
Absolutely, and that may just be the case as Irwin's directing traffic down there into the lane. They're going to put Featherston and Hoffer in to try and rebound if this one is missed. But again, the Foresters, if they do, they can't call timeout or else that'll be a technical foul.
The Chris Webber, as we like to call it. And Philman rims around and out. Clock starts. Hoffer getting the board, and he is fouled. Hoffer with the play of the game for the Grace Lancers, and he will go to the line to shoot 2. He gets 2 automatic shots. The game's not over yet with 2.5 seconds remaining. Even if he hits both of these, it's still 1 possession as Hoffer drills the first. No timeouts, though, for Huntington.
And Hoffer is 1 for 5 on the game, and he just came through with the biggest play of this contest, and credit Grace for playing up that well. And now Grace will burn their final timeout.
71-68. I'm not sure how Hoffer got in there and got that rebound from Dan Wool, but that's an impressive board from Hoffer, who stands at 6'2". Just a scrappy young player getting in there, and with only it being a 3-point game, 2.5 seconds. It ought to be a long heave from the Foresters.
It will, and it's got to be a deep pass, I think, enough to. It has to go at least a half court for the Foresters to even have a chance. So they've got to have enough bodies with advantages to get that pass there cleanly and try and turn quick, get a look at the hoop, because time is of the essence if they even want to think of trying to tie this game and send it into overtime.
Well, we know Colin Featherson's in the house, a former Huntington player. All we call for is Shane Merriman. Where is Shane Merriman when you need him? But you got to think Derek Heinen's going to be the guy to take this last second shot. Platt gets it to him. Half-court heave. Off the mark. And the Lancers steal one here at Platt Arena, taking it 71-68. Tough loss for the Foresters.
Couldn't have come at a worse time. Again, the Foresters now fall to 2-6. In Crossroads League play, they have one more game to end this first wave of conference play. It's on the road at St. Francis, and this team is slowly, it just has not gone well for them. They're going to have to reset and reset quickly if they want to have any chance of trying to fight back into the top 8 of the conference.
Just a tough loss here for the Foresters, but we'll be back shortly with final stats and an interview with Coach Platt. Make sure to stay tuned for the post-game show. Welcome back inside Platt Arena. I'm Logan Hunt. Alongside me, I have Mr. Eric Banton. And the Foresters just took a tough loss here to the Lancers, as took a tough 71-68 loss to them. But we'll get there shortly to the halftime stats. But first, we have Coach Platt coming out here to join us for this for that end of game interview. Well, first off, Coach Platt, tough loss here against Grace. But how did you guys prepare after taking a hard loss to Bethel? What was the mindset coming into this game?
Well, we just wanted our guys to compete hard, continue to learn and develop, and come out with a lot of energy and ready to tackle the game in front of them. And we got down again. We battled back. We took the lead. I mean, there's just a lot of good things, but right now it's a little bit of misfortune. I mean, the Philman kid hit a big shot there at the end to win it. If he misses that, we get the rebound, we win. It's just about that simple. But that's how close these games are. And hopefully our young team can continue to grow and learn. And hopefully one of these days, these kind of things balance out.
Well, did you like at least what you saw out of Alec Peterson tonight? He really was the key guy for the Foresters, seemed like all night long.
Yeah, we've been wanting Al to step up like this, and today he did. He had a big task in trying to guard 34, because the Williams kid is very, very talented and just huge. I mean, and so he needed to do that, and I thought he did a decent job on him for the most part all day. It's just so close. It's kind of hard to put into words right now how we feel. We feel like we're getting better and all those kinds of things. We're just not getting over the hump a little bit, and I think we will in time.
You guys have your next match coming up against St. Francis on the road. How do you guys plan on putting this loss in the back of your mind and getting ready for St. Francis?
Well, you just have to. I mean, I don't think there's an exact science to how to do that. I mean, you go to church tomorrow, you pray about it, you get yourself ready to go, you get re-energized, you come in Monday and ready to go take on St. Francis. I think you have to take every day and do that day as well as you can. You can't just get there and say, okay, wow, we got to go do this. Yeah, you do. Let's go, and we can beat them. I mean, you can. So go do the job and get it done. We'll just continue to forge ahead and continue to try to get better.
Well, thank you, Coach Blatt, for giving us your time here.
Thanks.
And good luck against St. Francis. As we want to thank Coach Blatt for all the time he gives. Now we're going to take a look here at the final stats here from inside Platt Arena. Force once again taking a tough 71-68 loss.
Yeah, it was really just a fact that Grace shot better all game long. They ended up shooting 51% from the floor for the game, 84% from the free throw line in a game where we did not expect those kinds of numbers from them in that particular area. They came through very well at the stripe today and shooting 66% from the three-point land. That's incredible in and of itself. They did get out-rebounded 28-27. Only 9 turnovers for Grace today, but only 8 for the Foresters in that sense as well.
The Foresters just couldn't quite pull this one out. The stats kind of favor Grace, but like we said, at halftime, the rebounding margin, it wasn't as bad as we thought it would be. The Foresters doing a great job, especially with Alec Peterson playing a key role there.
Yeah, and Peterson finished with 17 points, 7 rebounds. Would have liked to see him pull down a few more, but with foul trouble, that kind of forced him to play a little bit off of his man he was matching up on. But all in all, I think that's the best game I've ever seen Peterson play in his college career. I want to see him play with that kind of fire every game from here on out and try and get the Foresters back in position to be in the conference tournament talk at the end of the regular season.
Well, it's been a tough loss here for the Foresters, but they do go on the road to St. Francis where they're going to have to pull that one out. And frankly, the stats just kind of prove exactly what this game was. It was just a last-second shot away from a possible Forester victory.
And these teams played each other close in the 3 times each matchup last season. I believe a combined 10-point margin of victory in all 3 games. A 6-point win for Grace, 2-point win for Huntington, and then a 2-point win for Grace. So these teams always play each other close. It's a fun game to watch. Unfortunately for the Foresters, they just got to, again, like Coach mentioned, find a way to get over that hump. Again, with a young team, it's going to take some time, and I think he understands that.
Like you said, Peterson led the Foresters with 17 points, and Logan Irwin led the way for Grace with 26 of his own. And just to a tough match here. It's always a good Crossroads League matchup, and I do believe we have some scores from around the league that we can fill you in on here at the very end.
Yes, one of these has gone final. Iwu wins 69-60 over Spring Arbor, so a little bit of a surprise, especially considering Spring Arbor is, again, at the bottom of the league in terms of conference win-loss, but they played Iwu, I think, to their best ability and show that they could still compete there in the Crossroads League. 54-52, Taylor slimly hanging on against Goshen late in the second half, and then Bethel turns it around completely, winning 102-77 over the Mount Vernon Nazarene Cougars. Do not know the score, though, on the Marion-St. Francis matchup again. That was a halftime lead for Marion, 34-28.
Well, this one is a wrap for us. The Grace Lancers taking the Huntington Foresters 71-68 here inside Platt Arena. Foresters looking to turn things around against St. Francis on the 24th as they go on the road. But I believe that's going to do it for myself, Logan Hunt, and for my good friend here, Eric Bann. We want to thank you all for watching. Please stay tuned into FDN Sports for our future broadcasts.